Hey guys, Travis Gillespie here. Today you're going to learn about the metric units of measure, and you're going to learn how to select appropriate metric units of measure. Before we do that, I just want to change screens real quick, and we're actually going to look at the different metric types of measure, or metric units. So in the last lesson you learned you can use customary units of measure. And if you use these units, you can measure the length of objects, the weight of objects, and also their capacity. Now the metric system's similar. You can measure the length of objects, their mass using the metric system. So in school, what we typically say is if you're going to measure a person's weight on Earth and measure their weight on the moon, you're using customary units of measure. If you're going to measure a person's mass on the Earth and their mass on the moon, you're using the metric system, or metric units of measure. And you can also use the metric system to measure capacity. Now the metric system is set up so that you can convert between units using base 10. Convert using base 10. But we'll get into that in the future. What we want to look at are the basic base units for length, mass, and capacity. So for length, we're looking at, I'm just going to change colors real quick, meters. That's the base set of units here. For mass, you're measuring in your base set of units in grams. And capacities, base unit of measure, is in liters. Okay, so we have meters for length, grams for mass, liters for capacity. Okay, so these are our base units right here. In fact, what I want to do is just change pens and write base. So if I'm looking at the base unit of length, I'm looking at meters. If I'm looking at base unit for mass, it's grams, and the base unit for capacity is in liters. And then I can convert to different units of measure using base 10. I can move upward and get larger, or I can move downward and get smaller using converting using base 10. Okay, so if I were to convert from the base unit to a smaller unit of measure, well, the next one down would be deci, followed by centi. These are just the prefixes that I'm writing down, and then we'd have milli or milli. And if we were to convert from the base unit upward to a much larger number, one of them would be a kilo, so K-I-L-O. Now there are more in between the base and kilo, and we'll look at those further, but for now this is a good starter.